On paper, Susan Collins' Senate seat would seem like a relatively easy pickup for Democrats in the midterms if she had not proven such a formidable opponent in Maine. Since she was elected in 1996, Collins has trounced every single challenger that has come her way. And in her last campaign in 2020, she beat Democratic opponent Sarah Gideon by more than 8 percentage points, while Donald Trump lost Maine by more than 9 points. Already, a slate of Democrats have stepped up, each believing they can upset Collins' streak as Maine's longest-serving member of Congress. But none are quite like 40-year-old oyster farmer Graham Planter. He joins us now. Graham, really good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Katie. I appreciate it.
Give me your campaign pitch.
I'm a working class guy who works on the ocean in Maine with his hands. I was born and raised in the town that I live in, moved back here after doing a bunch of deployments overseas. I was in the Marine Corps and the Army. And I love this place deeply. And I have watched it over the past few years struggle incredibly with issues of affordability and healthcare access, issues that I'm afraid are going to get increasingly worse as Republicans control government. The budget bill that just passed is going to bring down Medicaid and Medicare cuts that are going to really destroy our already kind of crumbling rural healthcare system. And so for me, I've gotten into this because I feel like we need to try something new. We need to send up candidates who don't represent the establishment. There's a lot of anti-establishment angst right now. And I fear that by going with the old tired playbook that we've used, we may yet again fail to unseat Susan Collins, even though now she's probably weaker than she's ever been. And so essentially my pitch is, I don't have to read a New York Times article to learn about how to talk to Trump voters. They're my neighbors. They're the guys I work next to. I know how to talk to them. I know how to connect with them. They have the same issues that I do, certainly when it comes around health care and housing and affordability. And I want to be able to appeal across the political divide here in Maine of working people and touch on issues that materially change working people's lives on a daily basis. Keep that the focus, and also focus on building a ground-based campaign where we knock a lot of doors and we do a lot of get-out-the-vote operations, and we mostly just connect with our neighbors here in the state.
Maine is interesting because Donald Trump has not won Maine. Donald Trump loses Maine. And yet the Democratic challengers, as I just laid out against Susan Collins, generally lose by even more points than Donald Trump loses. So there's clearly somewhat of a desire for Mainers to have a dual party representation. And Collins is interesting because sometimes she is a dissenting voice. Why do you think she's weaker now than ever?
Well, one, I think the charade is wearing thin. In 2020, there still were Democrats in Maine who viewed Susan Collins as a moderate. That's gone now. That doesn't exist. Democrats in Maine, and frankly, look, I have a lot of friends who are Republicans, and they think that she's putting on a show. They think that she's up there representing establishment and corporate interests and that she doesn't really stand for anything. I think they're all right. And the reason she is weak now is that the Democrats in the state are unlikely to vote for her. But we can't rely on that. We also need to kind of appeal to both disillusioned Trump voters and also, frankly, a lot of unenrolled. Maine's got a lot of independents. And many of them sat the last election out because they're disenchanted and they don't see a politics that represents them as working people. And we need to build that. We need to rebuild a politics in the state of Maine that is of and for the working people of the state of Maine, and give people hope. Give them something to believe in again, that we can have a politics that cares about their needs.
The Democratic Party, not popular nationwide. The registration for new voters toward the Democratic Party is dropping precipitously. Why are you running as a Democrat and not an independent?
I'm running as a Democrat because I am a Democrat. I've been a registered Democrat for a long time. I believe still, despite what I would say are deep critiques now of the party for at least the last 30 years, it is still it should be the party of the working class. It should be the party that protects labor. It should be the party that works with community groups, the party that really pushes for big structural change to benefit working people in this country. And I would like us to get back to that. And for me, it's personal. I've watched, frankly, politics stop representing me as a working class person. And I have this opportunity to get into this race and I hope start turning things around if I can. And we've gotten a lot of support, far more than I was expecting, if I'm going to be entirely honest.
Well, I hear the oysters are good, so you have that going for you. Graham Flattner.
With the oysters.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. We hope to have you back again. We did extend an invitation to Susan Collins to join the show as well.